Welcome back. Shane, what are you doing here?
Well, at the moment, I am trimming the excess roots off because obviously they're getting a bit long. So, and obviously with all plants, now and again you sort of have to trim them back. As you can see, it is a pond plant. Well, it's like a marginal plant, which means normally they grow in boggy areas. But obviously, this has been growing in the pond. As you can see, it's got masses and masses of roots. It won't kill, it won't harm it at all.
If anything, it helps, doesn't it, to keep
it does, yeah, it does, yeah. It actually helps. You cut it back about this time of year, which is early December, and all it does is it encourages new growth for the roots, obviously next year, to progressively come back and regrow again, as they say. So
there's quite a bit on them too.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, I'm actually quite amazed at how fast pond plants can really grow in such a short space of time. Obviously, this year I've had abundance of wildlife just from having a pond. I've had frogs, toads. I've had certain newts, which I never thought I'd really see one on my own site. So I've seen them in the wild and that, but obviously when you've got an allotment, the number one thing at the moment for a lot of the country is trying to introduce a lot of the old precious native wildlife back into the country that is either going extinct because of building or cutting down forestry, etc. If you can do your bit, play a part in it to try and help them out, then that's brilliant. That is brilliant.
And that comes back to what you were saying in a previous video that was recorded about having all the features and your pond that's over there.
It is, yeah. So having a little, people think, well, you've got to have it plugged in and etc. Not really. As I've already shown, you don't need to go too fancy. If you've got an area, or a corner of the garden, just dig an hole and put a bit of line in, anything that's waterproof, that's strong and sturdy. You can just put it in. Doesn't have to be fancy, like I say. It doesn't have to be deep. You can have it a foot deep or half a foot deep, just as long as it contains, a bit of water. If you can find plants, obviously certain ones of these, I haven't bought.
You said this was a rescue plant, wasn't it?
It was a rescue plant, yeah. I knew somebody, obviously, who I used to, go around with quite a while ago, and they used to work for the Castle Vale environmental team.
Oh, there you go.
And when we was doing, the environment days and whatnot, obviously they had to have the landscape done, and obviously at that point it was only probably a couple of twigs, big, and I obviously I just sank it in the pond. I didn't know whether it would grow again because obviously it was disturbed quite bad, but I just sunk it in, hoped for the best, just left it to it.
It's done quite well.
Yeah, Mother Nature's revived it, done everything it needs to, and now it's just lushy, bushy growth.
And just for those wondering, obviously this wasn't in the main pond that's down there. It was in this little tub of water, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I mean, it used to, all these plants was, as I say, they did come out of the main pond, but obviously the pond liner, was damaged, so I had no choice but to repair it.
But today you've taken these out of.
Yeah, so that was like a nursery pond while I was repairing the main one, and obviously now it's time, seeming as the my main one's repaired, so I'm going to just put this back in, and I'll show a little clip soon of how it looks when it's all back up and running.
Done. Brilliant. Thank you very much, Shane.
No problem.